blessed, most profound act of service and help and love and kindness. He takes off his outer garment, his outer coat, and takes a towel, begins to wash people's feet. Under that pressure, what enables someone to do such a thing, right? It's because they have received love. This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. And so, so because receiving love, okay, equates in being able to give love, and receiving love and acceptance makes all the difference in our lives. I think I've mentioned before, a study was done on children in a hospital. They separated orphans. And so for one half of orphans, they were loved. They gave them homes, loving homes. They were adopted in loving homes. They were loved. They were caressed, their cheeks stroked, hugs and kisses and all that. But another half, what they did is that they made sure they were not touched. They didn't receive care, no touch, no caressing, no loving, no pecks, no hugs. And I think the longest one of those children lived for 9 months. Every other one died. And it's because they were made to receive love. That's how it is. And so the devil understands the power of love. Satan, our enemy, understands the power of love. So powerful that he knows what it means to us. He knows what it produces in us. He knows that if we receive love and we are able to interpret and understand the power of love, then we can give love, right? I just explained that we can give love. And so you think about it, if the world is filled with people receiving and giving, receiving, it becomes this conduit. You're a conduit of love. You're receiving, you're passing, you're receiving, you're passing. And think about how society would be. Think about how people would be, how life would be. So because he knows that, therefore, right, he does everything within his power to stop that flow. Okay? All right? He does everything within his power to stop that flow. And he does that by one word. What's the word? By introducing what? Sorry? Rejection. Right? Because he knows the power of love, so he brings rejection. And like we've said, rejection is the message that you're not worth anything. Right? That you're not loved. You have no value. Okay. But the reality is that just because your parents, your boss at work, your colleague, friend, leader in whatever sphere, capacity, did not show you or give you that kind of love, right? How many know that does not or should not, okay, should not spell out your worth? All right? So, okay, I was going to make sure I had it in my pocket. Let me just quickly show you. All right. I haven't got lots of these, but I've got one or two. Right, what do I hold in my hand? Lift your voice. 20 pounds. Now, if I was to crumple it right now, all right? Esther wants it. All right? Would anybody take this 20 pounds? Amanda said yes. Okay, but if I put it down and stamp on it, will you still take it? What if I spit on it? Will you still take it? Darren's like, okay, why are we saying that? Very simple reason is that regardless of how I treat this 20 pounds, it doesn't affect its value. The value is intrinsic, right? It doesn't. Now, how come then how people treat us, all right? So if this was you someone else crumples you, stamps on you, right? Somehow we get a pen, we change the number from 2 to 1. All right? And then when they spit on you, you change the number from 1 0, all right, scrub it out and make it 0.5. And very, very soon becomes 0.005. Now you're worth 5p, even though it's a note, right? So we interpret how people treat us, all right? We interpret our value based on how others treat us. You with me? Right? If you were walking down the street and you walked by, if you went to your dump yard, you have this dump yard where you dump all your dirty stuff. You went to your dump yard and someone left a brand new Apple tablet in that dump yard. Now, dump yards are worth nothing. They smell, they stink, you have flies, it's horrible. But if someone left an Apple tablet in there and it works perfectly, would you not take it? You would take it, right? Because the value is in. Okay, so what we do is the devil knows the sinful nature in us, okay, and that is that we interpret our worth based on external treatment. Okay? So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That interpretation is called one word, a what? One word. Sorry? A lie. It's a lie because, as I just explained, all right, how I treat this 20 pounds doesn't change its value. But then if the 20 pounds think, oh, by the way, someone crushed me, therefore I'm now 10 pounds. Who believes the lie? The 20 pounds. Because how I treated it, crushing it, doesn't change its value, but the 20 pounds now think, I am now 10 pounds. That's a lie. Okay? That's a lie. All right? So the message of rejection is a lie. Okay? I want you to capture that. I want you to understand that. Okay? It's a lie because your value is not affected by how others treat you. Your name is still Amanda. Right? Elizabeth. Right? Juventus, your name hasn't changed. Right? Amanda is still, what, 6 foot what? No. Sorry. Okay? It doesn't change who you are. It shouldn't change who you are. Okay? So the message is a lie. Okay? Why? Why is that message a lie? Now, I've just said it shouldn't change who you are, but fundamentally, why is that message a lie? And every parent should be able to answer this question. Why is that message a lie? Fundamentally. Or speaking grand way, Ingrid.
Because the person who created us is the one who determines our value.
Thank you, because God still loves you. Right? God still loves us. People don't determine our worth, God does. Right? You hear a lot of times, babies are Pastor Frank Schwerer, their son, Paul, when he was birthed, Paul is probably 26 now, I guess, or even more, maybe nearly 30. When he was born, doctors told the parents, took him to the side for a loving conversation. He's got disability, he's got health problems. It's best that we just let him go along, let him pass. Basically kill him, right? Not let him leave. He was in an incubator. He wasn't very poor birth. They were, but Pastor Frank Schwerer and his wife, they were saved. They said, no. To you, he's a liability. To us, we love him. But today, he's nearly 30 years old. Working a job, living life in church, saved, born again, right? And so the doctors could not determine the child's worth the child's worth is determined by the parents. Right? You know, any teacher tell your child, well, your child is a clown and idiot. Say, you might be a clown and idiot, not my child. All right? Okay, so that's how God views us. God views us, he assigns worth to us. Okay? Galatians 2:20, real quick. Galatians 2:20.
I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me.
Okay, very good. So the lie of rejection from the external, the problem is that it produces lies in the internal. Right? This is why the whole thing of rejection is one big fabrication. And this is what the devil is after. Because when we interpret what people do to us externally and assign our worth, someone goes, oh, you're an idiot. Oh, I am an idiot. And assign our worth to what they say. You know what happens? Then we begin to misinterpret, and it's actually impossible to receive a message of rejection and stay the same. You can't, it's impossible. You cannot receive a message of rejection and stay the same. You will react. Okay? And so human nature reacts against rejection because it's such a violation against our natural sense of being. And so people fall on two sides. They either accept rejection as being true. I'm a worm, I'm no good, I'm an idiot, I'm going to be useless in life. Or the fight against rejection. Okay? The fight against the interpretation has been true. All right? And so this is why most people live their lives filled with their reactions to rejection. And so it plays out in three different major areas. Who can quickly tell me where it plays out? Three major areas, real quick. Yes, Nazarene. Relationship, human relationships. Which other relationships, Ingrid?
Relationship with God.
With God, and one more area. So with people, with God, our emotions. All right? Our emotions. Our inner emotions, our mental world. And so let's look at some areas it plays out. Number one, obviously, we'll look at some more in the future, but I mean, there's a whole different ways this triggers us. One of the ways it triggers us is being driven to perform. When we feel the message, some people feel the message that they have no value and they can't succeed. And so what that does in them, it drives them, okay, to win, to succeed. And either in the financial industry, money, I've got to have money. I want to prove to them that I am not, okay, in sports, in achievements, in career. And, it's not just a desire to achieve for the sake of being successful in whatever you do, but it's more for desire to prove your worth, to prove others wrong, right? It's you're trying to prove the voices you've heard, the people you've grappled with, you're trying to prove them wrong. And so all the while you're striving, I've got to get a promotion, I've got to earn that money, I've got to get this, I've got to get that. You're pushing yourself, breaking your back. All the while, what's driving you, it's not so much, oh, my kids need to have this, or, I need to have this so I can qualify for that, or I need to. What's driving you is a spirit. And that spirit is, I've got to prove them wrong. That's pretty wicked. I heard a story of a mountain climber. He climbed the El Capitan by himself, And apparently when he reached the top of that mountain, he started shouting, "Are you proud of me now, Dad? Are you proud of me now, Dad?" He's shouting at someone who wasn't even there. Okay? Well, you think about this, all right? Think about this. When does it ever stop? When do you ever get to a point where, okay, I feel like I've proved to them that I'm worth something? It never stops. That demon spirit is what possesses and drives people, people who are driven to prove that they're successful financially. When does it stop? £1 million? £5 million? 10? Right? Where does it stop? It's a demon spirit. Okay? Because having all of those things never changes how we feel about ourselves. That's why I said, we established earlier, it's all a lie. Okay? It's a lie. It's not true. Okay? It's not about God or people. It's more about showing your personal value. Okay? And so, to the first area, some areas I'm going to look at randomly. So that one is trying to prove your worth to people by performance. You're driven to perform. The second area is seeking counterfeit acceptance. Seeking like I said, we're made for love and acceptance. That's what we're built for. Okay, and that need for love and acceptance is so strong that we will search for it even in destructive ways. Okay, it's very sad. You watch documentaries. I watch documentaries, and I think I mentioned the other day about a girl called Ronnie that I watched. Very sad. It's just, young girl bullied at school, met her first boyfriend at 15, raped by him, led her to drugs, and eventually suicidal attempts. And now she's actually now a public speaker, trying to encourage people to not live that lifestyle. Very, very sad story. But I saw another story about another girl who her parents were very involved. Her parents were raised in drugs in America, and so they rejected her. Just neglected her, and so she grew up with the mentality, I'm not loved, and eventually met a man and met a guy, and drugs, and anyway, she ended up being a prostitute. And she says that she's abused from abuse to abuse, and then they got killed one time, and they asked her, why did you keep on going? She goes, I was simply looking for love. And we look at prostitutes on the streets, hookers, we're like, oh, you filthy dog, what are you doing? They get out of my neighborhood, right? But a lot of times what you don't understand is these girls are simply looking for love. This is why a lot of guys and girls join gangs. All right? Gangs are devils, dirtbags, all right? Who wants to be a part of that? But these kids, they want acceptance. And these gangs offer acceptance. We will protect you. We will help you. We're brothers. Can you eat? Hey, here's my last 20 pounds. My wallet is right. Here's my last 20 pounds. Go eat with it. And they love them, right? Listen, gangs don't sit there and listen, they're a family. In gangs, there is love and acceptance. Okay? And so people know they are dead bags. They know that they are bandits. They know that they're horrible, but they still join them. Judges 11:3. Judges 11:3. I gave that out to someone. No? Okay. 11:3. So Jephthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob. But soon he had banded with worthless rebels following him. And so that's one of the manifestations is, number one, people want love and acceptance. They join gangs, they join unhealthy relationships, and but then the other way it manifests is sexual attention, okay? And a lot of times that plays out through clothing, and so a lot of ladies are not, they're not, sluts, right? I know that's a very heavy word. A lot of ladies are not your usual, psychomaniac, but the reason why some girls dress in club clothes, put it that way, club clothing, or they dress provocatively around, is because they like the attention that they get from the opposite gender, and it makes them feel valued, right? Because somehow they don't feel valued. So when a guy gives them looks, oh, he's looking at me, they feel valued. It's meeting a need on the inside. That's why some girls like attention. They like the attention they might get from a guy because, all right, and so they're looking for that love and acceptance. Again, like I said, I've read stories, I've watched documentaries, and women want value, especially women. And I was watching a documentary about a lady. She'd been in various marital relationships, and she would always go off, with another guy. And I think she was interviewed. She said, I hated how it felt after. She said it's funny. She said it's funny because the very thing I went in for it for was what I hated after. So I went into a sexual act, hoping it would give me the fulfillment that I crave, but afterwards it made me worse than how I was in the beginning. But I would seek another just because for that short moment I felt loved. And we have men who, the more ladies they can have, the more it makes them feel masculine. And so we have serial adulterers, fornicators, and, and so this is a very powerful thing we see today in our world, in our generation. And, even sometimes the graphic images people get involved in, it's really a play on their lack of love and acceptance. Somehow, all of a sudden, some chick is behind the screen telling you, I'll be yours and you are mine, and so some men is like, for once they feel some kind of a connection, even if it's just a piece of glass. Right? And this can actually get very bad because a lot of times, people may even get involved in same gender relationship, okay, because of a twisting of identity, especially young when people are born, when a boy or girl is born and their parents reject their sexual identity. When moms or dads say, I really wanted a girl, but you came as a boy, they reject that. I really wanted a boy, but you came a girl, they reject that, and that boy or girl feels as though they have to grow up. They know that their gender was rejected, and a lot of times it plays out because then they want to be what their parents wanted them to be. So the boy wants to be a girl to please his parents. And so what happens then is he grows up, he begins to identify more. I mean, you have stories of young boys who they dress like that, they wear their mom's clothes because they want to be accepted. They're rejected as boys. Mom really wanted a girl, dad wanted a girl, and so now they want to dress like girls, and they grow up with a twisted mentality, a twisted identity of themselves, and that becomes a problem. So we have that. So the problem is that this whole lie of rejection becomes the dominant feature in people's lives. I want you to listen very carefully, okay? Rejection becomes the dominant feature. It dominates your mind, okay? And so how does that happen? It happens by assaulting your self-worth. And you have to understand, your worth is very, very critical. You underscore that, write it down. How you view yourself, okay, how you think of yourself is very critical, okay? So rejection is a direct attack on your value, right? Which really, when you break it down, it's a commentary, or should I say, it's an assault on your pride. Okay? What's pride? My self-worth. All right? So rejection is a direct attack on your pride. So our reaction to that, okay, is often to enfront our pride. All right? Our pride becomes our God. Right? And so now we want to prove to the world that we are something. Okay? Are you with me? All right? Okay, so then this begins to play out, and so it affects how you view things. I think I mentioned this a week or two ago, how you see things. Titus 1 verse 15.
To the pure, all things are pure, but to those who are defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. But even their mind and conscience are defiled.
Okay, so think about it. I mentioned pride. So now how we see ourselves in comparison to others, all right, becomes an issue, okay? Because now remember, our pride has been hurt, our pride has been assaulted, right? And therefore our natural reaction is to elevate ourselves because we're fighting this thing. Therefore, it affects how we see ourselves in comparison to others, right? And so remember that thing I spoke about last week, rejection glasses. We wear the rejection glasses, and so we begin to interpret life, right? And we reflect. Everything is reflective of who you are, and how you are, right? And so what happens is people who feel rejected view everything in life as a vote on their worth. Right? So you're driving, someone cuts you on the road, you interpret that as, you think I'm worthless? You disrespect me? They just maybe they run into the house because they have stomach upset. They need to get home quickly and use that bathroom. Right? But there they are, they're like, oh, this guy's slow, man. I don't care if I get a ticket, I'm going to drive, and right? And but you think disrespect me, huh? Okay? All right? Okay? And so rejection dominates every area. We view everything through this lens. Okay? We assign meaning to words or events. This is why rejected people are easily offended. Every word, every action is an assault on their worth. This is why, angry people are often rejected people. Okay? There is a pre-existing underlying anger, okay? Past rejections. Let's have Genesis 4, verse 23 and 24. You got that? Genesis 4, 23.
And Lamech said unto his wives, Adar and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold.
Okay, so angry people, the root of their, you meet people who they're constantly angry, constantly, right? Every little thing, okay? It's the root of it is rejection, right? So you say words, they look into, what did he mean by that? They look into words, looks, right? Are you looking at me? Are you ignoring me? All right? Actions. I think I mentioned before, I've had people tell me, Pastor, you don't love me. I'm like, I'm hearing that for the first time. What do you mean? And what they meant is that I missed shaking their hand. A simple action, okay? Events of life. Things happen in life, and when things negative happen in life, it's a vote on your worth. I've had pastors who struggle with insecurity. They attendance in church, drops, or people don't show up for a concert, or and they're tormented, and they take it personal. It's me. It's my worth. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe, and they take it on themselves. We had a lady. She her and her husband was coming back for redirection. This is years and years ago, and someone does something in church, and she sparked, man. Is it because we're back for redirection? You disrespect me now. Woman, calm down. In fact, this young lady who apparently upset her didn't even know they were pastors in the first place. They'd pastored in the past. She was a new convert girl. But in her mind, the fact that we had pastored and we've come back for redirection, she attached her self-worth to that. Can you see how that is a lie? Okay? Remember, the worth of these 20 pounds, okay, has nothing to do with how I treat it. I could crush it, spit on it, stamp on it. It's still 20 pounds. In life, people crush us, spit on us, stamp on us, and we go, oh, I am worth less based on how they treat me. That's the sinful nature we have. Because how life treats you really doesn't play a part as to your worth, or shouldn't determine your worth. Okay? Now, the opposite of that is rejected people accept false guilt. Every negative event in life is my fault, and something didn't work out in life, it's my fault. And, Ukraine and Russia are fighting, it's my fault, you know what I'm saying? And, the rain comes and washes off, your outreach and everything, it's me. And anyway, so we have this strong reaction to rejection. The problem with lies is that they produce emotions, okay? And as I just mentioned, there's the emotion of anger, which is common with rejection. There's the emotion of anxiety as well, we can talk about, emotion of sadness. And listen to me, just because you feel things doesn't mean they're true. Okay? The devil is a liar, and he's the father of all lies. All right? I don't know if you remember, I finished coming to my right. I don't know if you remember, there was the story of a young lady who beat a child. The child nearly died. I think the child maybe died in the end or nearly died. I can't remember now. Young mother, she was probably in her either 18 or 20, I can't remember. Some of you might remember, and also it was on the news. And she said that the child will look at her in a way that was undermining and disrespectful. And I don't understand. I mean, how? But that girl had, I want to know, she had serious rejection issues. How can your child look at you and you interpret that as somehow, she's undermining, disrespecting you, and then you react to that poor soul and vent all your anger? So emotions. Okay, let me close. I haven't got much time. I've only got 3 minutes. Let's talk quickly about healing rejection reactions. All right, just 2 more scriptures quickly. Who wants to read? Ingrid, James 4:10, Joshua, Matthew 20, verse 32 and 34. Okay, healing rejection reactions. So it's quite simple. If rejection causes us to enthrone pride, then what needs to happen is we need to repent of pride, right? And enthroning pride. James 4:10.
Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up.
Okay. And so it's basically saying, I recognize this is wrong. I realize that not everything in life is about me. What is the middle letter of pride? Sorry? I. Not everything in life is about me. The problem is we think all of the world revolves around us. You ever come to a gathering late? You come late to a gathering, and then you want to skip, that's okay to walk around the corner. But a lot of times, some people do that because they sort of feel, oh no, I don't want to disturb the event. I want to just all right. Others do that because everybody will be looking at me. Or maybe you ever been running on the street? You're jogging. Right? And then you're very self-conscious, thinking everybody's looking at me, so I can't stop. I got to show like I'm really strong. Meanwhile, you're dying. Call the ambulance, somebody. I'm dying. But in your mind, you're thinking, everyone's, no one cares. How many of you, when you're driving, see someone running, go, oh, she's such a lousy runner. He's such a you're driving, you're going to work, you're right? But in their minds, they're thinking, oh, no, everyone's looking at me, right? No one cares. It's a lie. You know what that is? Because you think the whole world revolves around you. You're going to realize you are not at the center of the planet. No one cares less about you. It's funny. I was talking to my friend just the other day about this. It's funny. Pastors, every pastor has a bit of an ego, apart from your pastor. No, just kidding. Right? We all have, everyone has a bit of an ego. And so, oh gosh, my time is going. So sermons, you say, how was that sermon? I always ask my wife in the car, my family, how was the sermon, babe? And she tell me, it was, say, oh, wonderful. You want a new dress? Right? And, but we're just talking about, people could care less. I ask people in my church sometimes, some of you guys, what's someone did you preach? You preached that? Was that last year? Was that 6? They can't remember, right? And we're just talking about the thing of we heard something, we're laughing about it. The thing about not taking yourself seriously. So I shared a story with him, which Natasha told me man was sharing. It's not about her, it's about me. And so I was going to Prescott, and so I said to her, pray for me. I'm going to be preaching at Prescott. She goes, oh, is it your first time preaching at Prescott? I was like, how dare you say that? But it's my 3rd time preaching at Prescott. But here's the thing. She cares about me as being a pastor. What makes me a good pastor is not the fact that my pastor has preached in Prescott 3 times. Is when I stoop on one knee and I hold Georgia or Gabby and say, how are you doing? Are you okay? How was school today? That's what makes me a good pastor to her. All right? It's my care. It's not the fact that have you seen my badges? Right? Pastor Greg called me to come preach in Prescott. You get what I'm saying? Because in some people's mind, the world revolves around them. Don't you think it would be very stupid of me if I walked around thinking everybody, when I came for Prescott, are thinking, oh, he preached at Prescott. He has the Shekinah glory of the Lord on our pastor, right? That'd be silly. I mean, can you imagine? But some guys are like that. Because in their mind, the whole world revolves around them. So he's thinking, Pastor, I know you went to Prescott. I didn't know you preached there. Did you preach there? Yes, I did. Right? But that's the way it is. People in their minds, it's like they've got a music playing in their minds, some film going on in their minds, and they are the star. Anybody ever heard of Walter Mitty syndrome from the 60s, and Naomi has? And this guy, he was a hero in his mind, right? Quickly, in two seconds. Microphone, quick.
Every situation that he had, it was a movie, and then he was the star of it, basically.
Yeah. It's called the Walter Mitty syndrome. And he was always the star in every situation, be this gigantic guy, flying across, running at rest. But it was all in his mind. His wife would be like, hey, Walter, have you taken his bean out yet? Oh, he wake up. But in his mind, he was this Superman. Okay. So number one, repentance from pride, and I've gone away from my time here. Please excuse me. We need healing. Number two, and deliverance from rejection. And number three, I'm just kind of rushing through this now. We need to ask God to enable us to see things clearly and correctly and balance. Balance is very crucial. Okay. Very, very crucial. Matthew 20, verse 32 and 34 to 34.
So Jesus stood still and called them and said, "What do you want me to do for you?" They said to him, "Lord, that our eyes may be opened." So Jesus had compassion and touched their eyes, and immediately the eyes received sight, and they followed him.
That's what's needed, is that God will open our eyes so we can see things correctly. All right? We can see things correctly. If I hold this 20 pounds right here, it is the biggest thing in the world. But if I put it, even spread it out and put it there and stand here, it has its correct perspective. All right? That's how life should be, is that we see things correctly. This is why sometimes couples, did you say that? And it's that we hold things too close. Right? And because the whole world revolves around us, which is rooted in rejection, and we need God to help us, heal us. I have room for just one question. I know time is. I think her hand went up real quick first. We can have a chat in a minute. Yes, go ahead.
Is it possible to not have rejection as a child and then in adulthood to
Yeah, at any age. You could be 60, 70, because we're human beings. We have feelings, we have hearts. Yeah, absolutely. So that's very true. Okay, that's a short question. Maybe I'll ask yours real quick. Same question? Okay, very good. Sorry, Ingrid. Come talk to me after. Amen. God bless you. We have 2 minutes before church starts.